Hello, my name is Robert Gadball. I'm with iConstruct. I am the Client Success Manager of the Americas. Today I'll be doing a presentation called The Flavors of iConstruct AWP. So a little bit about iConstruct. The product is suited for a large range of industries worldwide. We improve the project performance and drive collaboration and efficiency across the project. It's a powerful, scalable solution for AWP. The BIM software for Autodesk Navisworks, and a cloud application on Autodesk Forge. We've got project and team members all over the world. Got a large group in the Americas, down in Australia, and in Europe. We got customers all over the world, as you can see in here. Here are just some of the owners and the EPCs. So our iConstruct AWP solution is basically built on 4 applications. We've got our iConstruct Pro, which is an add-on to Navisworks. This is where we do all the heavy lifting, the conditioning of models, restructuring the tree, breaking up the models into smaller portions. There's a lot of different things that we can do with the iConstruct Pro, but that is our base. We do use iConstruct Pro first to clean up these models. Next, we have the AWP Control Panel. This is where we can pull in all your different databases. So you got your material databases and your engineering databases, your project schedule, your progress measurements. We pull all that into the control panel. We tie that database into the 3D model. And from here, we start creating our work packages. From there, we go into Genus. And Genus is our cloud-based application. This is so you can take your models out into the field. You might want to take these models out in the field and you want to add in some rules of credit, some different statusing, change the foremans. Those are all the kind of things that we can do inside this model. And once we've worked inside Genus, we can also now create a PowerBI link to the model through the PowerBI application. And I'll be demonstrating all of these throughout the presentation. And so without further ado, I'm going to jump right into the demonstration. In this portion of the video, I'll be looking at the conditioning of models using iConstruct, and it's very important for all the steps moving forward. So with industrial models, we're finding they're getting larger and larger every day. And in this case here, I have a model. It doesn't look that big there, but if I actually go into viewpoint here and I turn off sectioning, you'll actually see that it's a fairly large model. Now what people are finding is that these models are way too large to be able to take out in the field, push into an iPad, something like that. So with iConstruct, we can condition these models, we can break them up into smaller pieces, but not only that, we can change the tree hierarchy. So for an example, if you look in here, I have like 160 some files in here. Now these files are coming from different sources, so they're structured differently. So for instance, if I look at this file right here, it goes down like 9 levels before I actually get to the item. But then I jump into this one, I go down 2 levels, and now I'm at the item level, but then there's some items that go even farther. This makes it very difficult to be able to use this file for anything other than viewing purposes. Now another thing to look at here is if I zoom in here, I'm going to go ahead and select on this line here. I really just want to select the line, the ISO here, but I'm actually getting all of this other data. There's no easy way to do that because of the way the file is structured. Now I'm going to open up a smaller model here. Let's go into this small model. Now this is the same model. I've just cut out a smaller portion of it. So the size difference is quite considerable. It's 11 megs compared to 370 megs. But if I look at this now, the big thing I want to show you here is the tree view. I took all those 160 some files and I reconditioned them. And so now I've broken it down by a layer. Here's my piping, which is the discipline. Then I broke it down by the ISO. And then I broke it down by all the individual parts. So every single thing in this file has now been broken down by those 3 levels. Now, if I come in here to the model and I select on this line like I did before, now you can see how I select just that ISO. I can grab this one, I select that ISO. It's because of the way I structured this model. This is very important for what we're going to be showing you in the control panel here in a moment. Now I'm going to open up another model just to show you, and this one has already been conditioned. I'm going to change this over to an NWF. So this is going to open this model up, and I just want to point out some things. So as you can see here, I broke this model down by discipline. Then I break that out. So I've got my layer in there. There's my ISO, and then underneath that are all the geometry. If we come over here, let's select on this ISO here. I'm going to expand this out, and you can see all the individual items. But I have this tab here called Genus AWP. So this is really critical when we're going into the control panel. Our control panel ties into different databases, and those databases are linked back to the model based on this tab. So you'll see here I have a primary, a secondary, and a discipline. The primary key is the most important. This is the field that I want to match inside the database. Now this will change depending on the discipline. So in this case here, this is my piping. If I go to the PDS component data tab, that primary key is this, the area, line, and sheet. And I created my secondary key using this commodity code here. Now, if I switch over here and I select on a pile, same thing, I'm going to expand it out. I've got a pile in here. I also have the Genus AWP tab, and it's got the primary key and the secondary key. Well, that is being brought in from the item tag. And so this is what I'm using. The main item tag here is my primary key. And then my secondary key, I'm just using this object code. Okay, so this is very, very important in order to get my database to connect to the model. It looks for the Genus AWP tab, and it looks for that primary and secondary key to know how to link it to the model. In the next portion of the video, I'll be going into the control panel. In this portion of the video, I'll be showing you our AWP control panel. When it's installed, you'll get a ribbon inside Navisworks. Inside that ribbon, there's a button here called Control Panel. I'm going to go ahead and click on Control Panel. Now, I don't have a project in here at the moment. It's an untitled one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this Untitled AWP. The AWP control panel comes up, and you can see in here we can give this a name, start date, completion date, and a few other things. I'm not worried about that for this presentation. We're going to go right down here to data sources. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect up to different data sources. In this demonstration, I'm just going to connect up to an Excel spreadsheet. Over here, you're going to see there's three tables. There's a main, a staging, and a WPS. If I go to main, you're going to see there's a primary and a secondary key. These are the two fields that will link back to the model. So I want to pull in my data into this main table. Once I have it in there, when I start to create packages, that will be the staging table. So you'll see all this information in the control panel here. And so any information that you have in the staging table will appear over here. Once I've created those packages, they'll appear on the WPS, which will also be a tab inside the control panel. You can rename these to anything that you want. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to select on main. I'm going to click on this pencil, and then I'm going to click on none. So I want to add a data source in here. So I'm going to go edit the source. And then I'm going to select file. But as you can see in here, we can do an ODBC connection. So if you have to tie into a SQL Server, Oracle database, whatever. What I'm going to do is just an Excel. So we're going to go file. Then I'm going to click on this button here to go select the file. So I'm going to grab the pile. So I've got a little database of some civil piles. So we're going to go open. Now I'm going to hit refresh. And when I do that, the stuff is going to populate down in here. If I expand this out, you'll see all the data that's inside that database I'm bringing in. Now I can change the type of it if I want to. I can pick what I want to bring in. I'm going to say, let's bring in the entire thing. But if you're bringing in a SQL Server and Oracle, it'll know the type. This is just an Excel, so it just thinks everything's a piece of text right now. So we're going to go OK, and I'm going to go OK. And now here in a second, you're going to see the main table populate. So I'm going to go OK, and now you can see all this data. And inside here, you can see the primary now has some fields in it, the secondary, and I also have a CWA and a CWP in here. Like there's my CWP down here at the end. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to set the work breakdown structure. So how we want to create these packages. So we're going to come up here to this little pencil. I'm going to click on Edit Current WBS. And we can change the name of this. You can create as many different WBSs as you want. All we're doing in this presentation is I'm going to go CWA. then to CWP, and then I want to break it down by the discipline. I'm going to go OK. Yes. I'm basically done. We're going to go OK now and OK again. As you can see here, all this data is populated. Now you can customize this all you want. When you do customize it, you can save it out as a template, and I'm just going to import one. So let's go in here. Let's just import this template that I have. And I'm going to go OK. And so now I can come down in here and say, let's grab this piping work pack. And so I filtered out all that other stuff. So you can create your own here. Now that I've done that, I want to see if my database is now connected to the model. So if I come over here, I did piles. If I select on one of these piles, you should see it highlight in the control panel. That lets me know it's connected to the database. So I want to start looking at creating some packages now. All I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on one of these and I'm going to set my WBS. You can also double click on the line here, but I'm just going to go set WBS. And now up in here, you can see the WBS. So it's set to CWA, the CWP, and the discipline is piles. This data has all now been filtered out to only show me the data in this work breakdown structure. But the model still shows me a lot of other things in here at the moment. So all I'm going to do is click on this icon here, which will then turn off everything that is not in this data table. So if I click here, it's going to take a few seconds and it's going to turn everything off except the piles. So now I've only got the piles on the screen. So if I want to start creating a package now, I can either pick them one at a time. I'm just going to window it here. I'm going to go there. I'm going to window it, and I'm going to click on this to create a package. I'm going to call it package number 1. So it's created that package, but you still see it on screen. So we have the ability to come in, and we can filter this out. Say, only show me the blanks. So once you've created a package, it'll turn it off the screen. So as you can see there, it's now gone. Let's go ahead and just do another one here, just show you how it works. Let's create another package. This one's going to be package number 2. Once it's created, it'll turn it off the screen so you don't accidentally grab it again. Now, if I jump over here to my WPS tab, there are my work packages. Same thing. Right now, the code is just one. I'm going to show you more elaborate. This is all configurable. You can call these anything that you want. So there's my 2 packages. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a database that I've already got done to show you a little bit more elaborate. So I'm not going to save this. I'm now going to open up this one. We're going to go open. So it's going to take a few seconds. There's a lot of data in this one. So this is bringing in all the piping, the steel structure, the civil, all the database of the entire job. Even though I'm only showing a small portion of this model, I'm going to bring in all the information from the database. There it says it's done, so I'm going to go OK. If I come back over here to the staging table, now you can see all this information in here. Now, this one's got 2 work breakdown structures. You can see piping here. If I click back on the project, and you can now see I can switch this over to civil or to piping. I'm going to leave it on piping for what I'm doing now, so let's just say OK. And we're going to just make sure everything is turned on the screen here. So let's just unhide everything. There it is. So let's just select a pipe on screen. So I've just selected the one pipe. As you can see, it's highlighting it in the model. I can right click on this and change my selection method to first object, and now it's selecting it by the ISO. That's because I've restructured the model earlier, and I structured it so it's broken down by the ISO first and then all the components. Now that I have that, I'm going to right click. Let's set the work breakdown structure. And now you're going to see the piping is now set to an area, a unit, a CWA, and a CWP. Now it's filtered all the data that you're seeing here. I'm now going to click on this, and it's only going to show me the data that is in this work breakdown structure. Now, another thing I want to point out here is we've got a field here called is feasible. And if I uncheck this box, you're going to see there's some boxes in here that aren't checked. Basically, you can build formulas in here to decide whether something should be packaged or not. So it could be by statuses or rules of credits or whether the material's on site, whatever it might be. So I'm going to go ahead and check that again. I only want to see the things that are feasible, ready to be built. So now if I click on one of these lines, down here you're going to see the hours. So I can start holding the control key down, I can start selecting other items in here, and you'll see how the hours start to add up. Okay? I'm going to say that's fine. I want to create a package out of that. So I'm going to click on this icon here to create a work package. I'm going to call it number 1. And you're going to see this turn off there. So as you can see, it turned all that off. I'm going to go ahead and create another package. Let's create a few of them in here. Let's grab all this data here. Let's create another package. That's number 2. And if I wanted to, I can add more information to an existing package. So let's say I wanted to take that data there, and I'll click on this, but instead of creating a new one, can you add it to the existing one? And now the hours will move up to 755. So let's go OK. Okay, so I've just created those packages. I'm going to uncheck this box so I can see all those pipes again, because I have them filtered out at the moment. So I'm only seeing the ones that have actually that weren't packaged yet. So now if we jump over here to the WPS tab, and you're going to see there I've got my couple of packages. I want to look at color coding now. And we can color code on any property whatsoever. In this example, I just have a code, an area, unit, but you could have hours in here or cost, whatever it might be. If I come on down here and I click on this color code, I'm going to do one called work package. You just pick the field you want to color code on. I'm going to change everything else to say a gray. And I can either do it one by one and just add it in here, say go to this one and color it green, but I'm going to do it by a value. And I'm going to say let's start at red and go to blue. And we're just going to go OK. And now you can see how it easily color coded those. So you can see there's the red one, and I can click on it. And we have ways to isolate it or zoom to it, whatever you want to do there. And to turn that back off, we just come down in here and say turn off the color code. But you can build up as many different color codes that you actually want to. Now let's go back to our staging. I'm going to unhide everything. Let's change the disciplines or work breakdown structure. So if we come up there to our project, I clicked on it. I'm going to now switch it over to civil. I'm going to go OK. And same thing as I did before. I'm just going to click on one of these piles. You can see how it highlights. I'm going to double click this time. I've set my work breakdown structure. Let's hide everything else. So now you can see those, and I'll go ahead and create a couple packages again. So let's create a couple of these. Let's create a package out of that. And this one's actually giving me a quantity when I create these packages. So if I grab all these, you'll see the quantity there is 426 yards. Let's create another package out of that. And same thing, if I come over here to the WPS, you can now see I've got 2 packages in here. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to look at generating a report from this. So if we come back in here, I'm going to turn everything else back on. Let's go here. And so we have our own reporting engine built into the product here. All I have to do is I come over here to the iConstruct menu. I'm going to load a profile that I've got done. So let's go in here. Let's grab this profile right here. And what a profile does is it loads all the different configurations that you have inside iConstruct. And down at the very bottom here, we have View Report. So I'm going to click on View Report. And we're going to go to Civil Report that I have. And we're just going to select this viewpoint right here. And we're just going to go Run. And this is going to bring up a report. This is fully customizable. Okay, so I put this one together very quickly for a customer, but we can do basically any kind of reporting that you want. This is not as elaborate as some may want to go, but we can actually show you other examples of what we can do. So as this comes up, it's going to show us basically in a PDF. So we can save this out as a PDF, a document, an Excel spreadsheet, whatever you want to actually show it as. So this is just a report example that I did for a customer. So as we can see in here, it's pulling in all this information from my project. This is 100% configurable. We come down, we got some table of contents. Then we get in, we can show the main item tag and all the individual item tags, and then the total amount of concrete. Then we see the 3D views. This is an overall view. This is zoomed into that work package, and then it gives me a view of the work package as a 3D model. And then it brings in the document information. But once again, this is 100% configurable. We can add any data. We pull it from databases. We pull it from the model. Whatever information you got, we can pull that right into the model. And we can even attach like engineering drawings at the end of this if we wanted to. Let's go ahead and exit out of this. Now from here, what we want to do is we want to push this out in the cloud because we want to take this in the field. We want to take it out on an iPad. We want to add some rules of credit or statuses, whatever it might be. We want to do that out in the field. And so in the next section, we're going to be looking at Genus, which is our cloud-based application, which is built on Autodesk Forge. In this portion of the presentation, we're going to be looking at Genus, which is our cloud-based application, which is built on top of Autodesk Forge. All you do is go to any browser. Let's click on Genus here. And you'll have an option to log in. So we have our own login, or you can use the Autodesk sign-in or the Google sign-in. If you use the Autodesk sign-in, you'll be able to tie into your BIM 360 projects and pull those into Genus. All I'm going to do here is we're going to go, yep, this is okay. We're going to sign in. And this comes up and it shows me I have different projects. So you can give different roles to different users. So you might have the administrators, you might have viewers. You can create these different roles and assign the permissions. Inside here, I'm going to go to one of my projects. And I'm just going to click on this job inside this project. So I'm going to go Area 5. And you'll see here, this is split up into two different areas. So the left-hand side, you can see my models that I've uploaded, and I can upload more models if I wanted to. You can also see there's revisions. Then we have different tabs in here, and I'll come back to those in a second. But on the right-hand side, we have the views of the model. So if you can just imagine having, say, 30 different models in here, maybe different construction work areas or disciplines, and you're going out in the field and you want to look at a certain area or a certain discipline, all you have to do is you come over here and you click on this little plus sign, which is going to create a new 3D view. And then you can give this a name, and I'm going to just call this one Area 5 Piping, let's say. And all I do is just click on the model I want to see. I can put multiple in there. I go Save. It's going to now create me a new view, and it's only going to show me the models I specified. If I want to edit this, I can easily go back in here. I can go edit this configuration, and I can add in another model. I go Save, and now it's going to update my view, and it's going to show me both models. So there's the piping now and the structural. Coming back over here on the left-hand side, the blue tab is just the data from the model. So I've got a piping model, and so it's going to load all the information from the model onto this tab. But I also have an IWP tab. So this is where I would have uploaded my work packages out of the control panel, and now you can see all these different work packages. Now you can change the view of these. So for instance, if I come up in here, I might say I want to see this by the status. I click on by the status. It's now going to change this by the status, and you're going to see how the color coding is activated. I can click on this to ungroup them by the status, and I can group them by anything I want. Maybe I want to group them by the name. I can drag and drop, and now you can see all the different work packages that I have. Let's go ahead and go out of that. Other things we can do in here, we can do it by dates. We can go down in here to report or chart. We've got a timeliner option in here, so it looks at the dates that's coming from your level 3 schedule, and we can actually slide this around and we can see the different items in that range. Let's go back up here for a moment. Let's go back to the IWP by name. I can turn the color coding on here. All I do is click on this, and I can go into color coding, and I can change how I'm color coding it. So right now I've got it color coding by the progress status. I'm just going to go Save, and now you can see all the color coding is activated. We're also giving you the ability, so you're out in the field and you want to add in maybe change the foreperson or a status or rules of credit. It's as easy as just going in here and clicking on a name, change it to somebody else, and I've now set that person as the foreperson. If I slide it on over in here, we've got different material statuses in here. Maybe I want to come in and I want to add a new status. So I come up here to Properties. I'll go to General. And let's go down here to Progress Status. I'm going to click on the pencil. And here you can see all the different statuses in here. Well, I might want to go ahead and go, let's add another one in here. I'm just going to call it Testing, just show you how easy this is. And I'm going to go Update. And now if I come over in here, I'll just double click. And now, wrong one. Let's go over here, double click. And now you'll see I have Testing in there. Okay? Very quick and easy. As you can see, we can also add documents. So if I want to see a, here's an ISO drawing. Here I can click on this and see an IWP report, and this is just another report that we can do. I showed you one earlier, but this is just another example of the report that we can do. Let's go ahead and get out of that. Other things you can end up doing in here is you create these tabs yourself. So if you want to maybe add one in there for commissioning, or you want to do some viewpoints, I can go in inspections in here, and so I can zoom to certain viewpoints or select on a certain object, as you can see in there. So this is all configurable for you. From here though, now that I've gone and done that, I want to now see this model in Power BI. And so that's a new feature that we've added recently, is taking our 3D model into Power BI and seeing reports. And that's what I'm going to show you in this next section of this presentation. In this portion of the video, we'll be looking at Power BI. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to a tab here, which I'm seeing my 3D model. All right, so I'm just going to change the way this looks. Let's go to my IWP tab. And I'm not going to have any color coding on in here, so let's just turn that off for a moment. I want to see everything as is, so let's go ahead. There's my model. So this view is what is going to come into Power BI. So that's the critical thing. Whatever you have shown in here, the angle, everything, that is how it's going to come into Power BI. So all you do is you come up to the tab and you go Get Embed Token. And I'm going to go Copy to Clipboard. I'm going to close this. Now we're going to go into Power BI. I got a blank one started here. First thing we have to do is we're going to go get more visuals. So we're providing you the visual. So we're going to go Import Visual from File. This is one we're going to do here. And we'll go Open. And I'll go OK. Now all I have to do is just click on this Genus Connect for Power BI. And we'll stretch this out. And I'm going to embed my token. So I'm going to actually paste that token in there, and I'm going to go Save. This is now going to bring in the model. All right. And we'll go ahead and stretch this out. All right, so here's the model. Now what I want to do is I want to connect some data up. So all I'm going to do is come up here to get data. Now we can import any kind of data that you want, but basically I'm going to do the Excel workbook. So I've got an Excel spreadsheet that I want to bring in. So let's go ahead and grab this one. And I'm just going to bring in this table here, Pipe Systems Data, and I'm just going to go Load. Now we want to connect the data up to the model because these are separated at the moment. In order to do that, you have to have a matching property. So if I expand this out here, I've got a property here called iConstruct name. If I select on a pipe here, and I go in here to Properties, you're going to see down here at the bottom here, we've got iConstruct, and then, let's move this over here. I've got iConstruct, now I got iConstruct name. So the iConstruct is the first part, colon, then the iConstruct name is the property. You could rename this if it wasn't matching, but that's what you need to have, is it's got to be matching. So now all I have to do is say, let's take the iConstruct name, drop it into the property match. Then I also want to color it by the work package. So I'll drag and drop it. And now you should see that this is now going to change to show me the coloring of that data. And there's all the coloring of my work packages. Okay, easy enough. If If I hover over something, now I also have a tooltip. Well, now I want to add some extra data. So I'm going to click out of that view over into here. And what I'm going to add now is a slicer. So let's just add a slicer there. There's my slicer. And all I'm going to do is say, take that work package and drop it right in here. And now I've got this slicer to where I can actually go and it'll go to and isolate each individual work package. Now, this actually gives you the option to whether if you want to hide it, you want to turn things on. And so if I come into here, I'm going to say, right now it says ghost hidden objects. That's turned off. I'll say, yep, let's ghost those hidden objects here. I'll get out of that. Then, as I select this, I'm going to come back over in here, go format my visual, Genus configuration. I'm going to go isolate the slice data. All right, so that's what I want to do. So now when I go ahead and select on one of these, let's go ahead and click on this one. And when I select it, it's going to go in and it's going to go find that data and it's going to isolate it and it's going to gray everything else out. And now you can see there, that's that work package. And this is running a little slow, but I can go ahead and select on another one. It'll go into select that data and zoom right into it. But this is a live model that I'm pulling out of Genus, and the database could also be a live database here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a job that's already done, which I've done in here. So this one's a little bit more elaborate, kind of showing you what we can do. So here's the same model that I was showing earlier, same exact model, but it's been configured a little bit differently. So up in here, we've got like this timeliner at the top. Here's our work pack tree, so I can click on one of these, click on one of those work pack trees. As you can see here, how it goes in and isolates that. I can uncheck, I click it again, it unselects it. We can also come in down in here and I can select on something in here and it'll also do the same thing, how it isolates it. And then it'll actually filter out all the data. So here's all the components that make up that work package. I click out of this. This is the end of this presentation, which is showing you iConstruct Pro, AWP Control Panel, our Genus, and our PowerBI connection. Thank you for your time. Please visit our website at www.iconstruct.com. And you can also send us emails either at sales@iConstruct or mateamatko@iconstruct.com. Thank you for your time today and enjoy the rest of the conference.